Well, hello, everyone. It's Ross Levine from the Bothell branch office here at Skyline, and I'm with my partner in crime, Jeff Pollock, down at the Puyallup office.
Good
And hey,
morning,
Jeff,
everybody.
we got a beautiful, nice day here today, 80 degrees, puts us in a good mood. And so we thought it would be a good idea to talk about something good as well, and that's proper etiquette in today's business world for real estate, right?
Yeah, perfect day for that. With the improved weather, it usually increases the showing activity also.
Yes, it does. That's always good to have. Just Jeff and I have been doing real estate for a real long time, and I think both of us would come to the conclusion that over the decades, it seems that etiquette style has become kind of less and less as we go on here. And it could be because, how the world is today with, using the internet and different ways to communicate, texting and emails and that type of thing. And
Yeah,
I definitely think that everybody could be more productive and certainly a less stressful world out there if we did just think about, etiquette every day that we wake up in the morning and tell ourselves, hey, I want to do it this way. And that's basically, I think you probably agree in one sentence, Jeff, and it sounds cliche, but it's just treat each other with respect, how
yeah,
you would want to be treated, right?
yeah, definitely. And then, lots of communication
Yes.
and, be
It's
kind, be patient.
that's right. And
Yep,
sometimes it's hard to do. We get it.
yep,
Those are two real big things, communicating and frustration levels because there's so many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak, with people that are involved in a transaction. So not only yourself and your client and the agent on the other side, broker on the other side, and their client, but you've got title and escrow people, lenders, inspectors, you got your own firm that you work with, the
correct.
MLS, all these different entities involved. And of course, what you want to do is help your client get the best deal possible out there, do the best job that you can, and little things will pop up, and they can
Yeah,
make you
but you also,
frustrated.
your goal is to, you will help them get through all the contractual commitments, the contingencies, the timelines, and to keep everything legal and honest and ethical throughout the
Yep,
whole process.
absolutely, absolutely. So I was just thinking, yeah, like you said, being kind, it just takes a little effort. It's really not a lot that you have to do. You just got to be thinking about it all the time.
Well, you have to think about who's on the other side of the transaction too. And when you go into like the showing etiquette that we're discussing, I mean, it's think about the seller, think about the other broker. I mean, think about everybody involved.
Right, right. You always want to say thank you at the end of a conversation. You always want to thank the other person. You want to
Mhm.
leave a good impression. People like to work with people that are kind and they are also aware of your time. They're not just treating you as, hey, this is just a cog in my wheel to get to where I want to get, and that's to get my commission check. I mean, let's face it, that's why we all work is for money. And I think it's very important too to always do what you say you're going to do. Good
Exactly.
example is, hey, you get a phone call near the end of an afternoon. You just say, hey, I'll get back to you tomorrow on this. It might be a crucial scenario for whoever's on the other side there. But a lot of times it happens where tomorrow comes and they don't get that phone call. They got ghosted. It's happened to you. It's happened to me. It's happened to you folks out there that are watching this. And that kind of leaves a little bit of a not a good taste in your mouth. And you start to think about the other person's, maybe their integrity. Am I important? Yeah, didn't get a
Yeah,
phone call. That only takes, 10, 15 seconds or a text or email or something to let them know, hey, I was thinking about you. Sorry I wasn't able to get to what, I'd promised to get to you back on. But don't make a bunch of excuses, all these other things came up. I mean, just letting them, that's part of the communication, right?
right.
Keeping in the loop of what's going on really shows good integrity. Jeff mentioned honesty. boy, in transparency, you don't ever want to get caught in one of those little white lies that sometimes
No,
folks will do just to, maybe if it's something that you did on your end is the reason for whatever the concern is going on here, because I mean, if that does get exposed, doesn't look good. And of course, you always want to have the people that you work with to work with them again. And so you build good rapport. And if those things start to happen, you can lose your integrity. You don't ever want that to happen.
correct.
Yeah, hey, just being organized and prepared is a great idea, because you
Mhm.
never want to be late, right? Being on time is huge. I don't think it happens as much as it used to. I'd like to see that come back again, but yeah, if you get
Correct.
appointments or meetings or whatever and say they're, something coming on at 11 o'clock, and it just seems almost natural now that if you show up 10 or 15 minutes late, that's okay. That's the way the world is, and it really doesn't need to be that way. Boy, if you can,
Well,
come a little
especially
bit
when it
early.
comes to like these, showing appointments, I mean, the homeowner is
Yeah,
expecting you to be in there, and they're
yeah,
expecting you to be out of there at a certain time so they can go back. They've,
yes,
um, they've, they've gotten their kids out of the house, they've gotten their animals out of the house, they've gotten everything ready for you. And just be prompt, and then if for any reason, well, we're gonna go into this, but, just let people know if something changes.
yes, yes, that's right. So yeah, being on time is huge. And if for some reason you are running late or whatever, and there's give a call or let somebody know, especially like if you're going to meet a seller on a listing appointment. My goodness, you want to be on time for that. But if for something came up, call them, let them know I'm on my way. I'm just 5 minutes out here, whatever the scenario is, to let them know. And that's good etiquette. Be a good listener. That's great etiquette. Don't
Yes,
interrupt when, especially if you have your client, they're giving you the gold information that you need, but we're all kind of salespeople, in our guts, and we start talking or interrupting, and because we've got this set agenda, what we have in mind, what our expectations are, whether it's getting the listing today or whatever. But yeah, be a good listener, be respectful of it. I know we kind of will talk a little bit about specifics with buyers and sellers and that, but boy, being on time, giving compliments, saying thank you, those are all things that are so important.
yes, they are.
I got another one for you, Jeff. Um, See if this gets to you here. It's kind of a pet peeve for me, but it's on texting. I mean, texting is used a lot, no, not only in the world, but a lot in real estate. Now we're managers here, but even as, working as brokers out there in the field, sometimes, and I'm sure you do too, I'll get texts that whoever's sending me the text doesn't even introduce themselves of who they are. Just, or
Yeah,
maybe another good example would be if you're a listing broker and you get a text from somebody that says any offers yet. That's it.
yeah,
Okay, do you think I'm gonna have, who do you think I'm gonna pick up the phone and get back to? Somebody that leaves a text like that, or somebody that leaves a text that says, hi, this is so and so from, whatever company you work with. Gosh, I saw the listing that you have up there, and I just had a couple of questions. And one was, how's the activity? Have you had any offerings? You're gonna be more entailed to get back to a person like,
exactly. Yeah,
because the other person's just, who am I working with who doesn't even have the decency to tell me who they are? So it's those type of communication things that
and
are,
that's what sticks out when you're a listing agent. Like I've done more listings than buyers.
yeah,
And when I do that, the ones that stick out are the ones that actually pick up the phone, call me, talk to me, ask questions,
yeah,
instead of just a blind text. And they're the ones,
absolutely.
that's the key for the buyer's agent, is to establish the rapport with the listing agent.
That's right. That's
You
right.
want someone that you feel comfortable, you can work with, and the whole idea is to get to the finish line and,
That's
get the transaction done.
so true. And we always want our escrow folks and our lenders, to jump through hoops in a rush when we got things going on, and they'll do it for you. And then, you're still thinking about that finish line, and you should go back and thank them all the time for what they do. Because there's a
Yes, this
crucial
is your
people for
team. This
it's
is
your
your
team.
team. It takes a team to get this done.
Yes, it does. Yeah,
Yep.
so very important. Um, you know, don't procrastinate too. We see that happen a lot in any business, maybe in your whole life. Procrastinating only puts you in trouble, because if something comes up right at the end and you're not prepared for it, you could have got things done earlier. Um, it sure makes for a less stressful life if you can be prepared
Yeah,
and
just do it up
organized.
front when it comes up. Yeah.
That's right. And
Hmm.
then it will give you the opportunity to um, be more respectful to those people that, are waiting for an answer from you on something, just like you want from them. So, be professional, dress for the appointment, I would say too, is important for etiquette,
Yep.
meeting with
Be
clients and things.
professional, dress
Yeah,
decent. Yep.
absolutely. Certainly, if you're meeting somebody out rural somewhere and it's pouring rain, and you can be a human, right? You can wear, something to keep yourself warm and dry, of course, but make yourself presentable. It's always a pleasant thing to do, and it makes you stand out above anybody else, and that's where you want to be on the totem pole. So,
Yep.
Jeff, I
Correct.
was also just kind of, you work with a lot of buyers, just kind of in your field as a buyer's broker on etiquette, just a couple things you could throw in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I first started in this business, that was all I did for a
Yeah,
long time was buyers. And then
yeah,
it kind of morphed into other things like listings. But one thing that I always say is when your buyer's interested in a property and you're gonna schedule the appointment, look at the marketing remarks, look at the agent only remarks,
right.
learn a little bit about the property, but um, most of these things are at least 2 hours notice, and you can schedule it in showing time. Schedule your appointment, stick to your appointment time, and if they cancel right away.
Yes.
Because like I said before, there's people this affects. I had a client in Federal Way. The dad had already moved to Oklahoma. They're selling the house. They got 10 kids. Yes, 10. But
That's a
she
lot.
had to get all 10 kids and two dogs out of the house every time the house was being showed. And
Wow.
then there was times when the buyer's agent didn't cancel the appointment, and so she moved everybody for nothing. So,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
and when you get to the homes, um, one thing I always do is, most of the time it is vacant. I
Yeah.
mean, it's vacant because they vacated it for the showing, but I ring the doorbell really quick while I'm
Yeah.
opening the super box,
Right.
and I'll also a lot of times I'll open the door first and I'll shout out that I'm there just in
Mhm.
case there's somebody in the
Yeah. Yeah.
house.
'Cause it happens. It can
Yeah,
happen.
it happens. Just to, I'll just open the door and I'll say real estate broker, and then I'll show the house. But I always also acknowledge, the notes. If I see the shoe basket there or a note to take your shoes off or put on the booties, then I do that.
Right.
Another thing is I make sure that I don't, I'm not looking over their shoulder, but I'm also with them within a certain amount of feet while they're showing the whole house, just so I can answer questions. And then another thing is, I personally experienced this with my own listing with my own personal property that, I had brokers leaving doors unlocked and,
Wow. Yeah.
like for the whole night. I mean,
Oh, wow.
you come back the next day and have to lock up, but,
Yeah.
make sure that if you turned all the lights on, turn them all off.
Yeah.
Make sure that you've locked everything up and left it in the same condition that you got it, and then try to stick to your time also, because sometimes there's another showing back to back right behind you.
Yeah. That's so true. It
Yeah.
makes me think about, talk about respect following the rules of the MLS. And There's
Well,
a
the
couple that
rules
get,
too,
yeah, yeah.
leave a business, that's a rule. You have to leave a business card on the table.
And you get, you
Yeah.
know, if you're not locking up and that's, you know, that's a rule that shouldn't happen. Obviously, we see that type of
Well, and
thing.
also remember, it's a different world now, and most people have Ring cameras on their front door.
It's very
So
true. Oh, yeah,
they're seeing what's going on too. And then also every one of the brokers, they're fingerprinted. I mean, and also every time a showing happens, the listing agent gets a notification from showing time
right,
that who opened the door and who's in the house. So they know who's there
right.
and they
So
know who was there last.
that's
So
right.
you don't want that to come back on you that you left the door open and then someone's in the house. So
There you go. So proper etiquette is just respecting your showing. I mean, when you're done, think about the rules that you have to do.
treat it like it's your own house and secure
Yeah,
it the same way.
yeah. Another thing that I just happen to think about is when I do showings, and I get the key out of the key box, I always got one spot where I put that key, and I put it in my left back pocket. That usually
Yep.
got a zipper on it. Because how many times, you know, if somebody's throwing a key in the purse or put it somewhere that they can't remember, whatever, and I'm sure you've had this
I do
happen.
the same thing. It's
Woo!
right back pocket. Yeah.
Yeah, out
Yeah.
the door they go. They forgot to put the key back in the key box or couldn't find it. Oh my goodness, a big trail of people coming in to see it after that. So
Well,
it's
and
just,
then on the other side, Ross, I mean, when I'm listing homes, when I put the key in the lockbox, it has a key tag on it that says the property address.
a very good idea. Boy,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that way, if someone did walk away with it that day, they know where it belongs.
they know where it belongs. That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just throwing in a few things too on the listing side. You know, it takes time to prepare for a listing. You know, you maybe talking to a seller on the phone, you go to see them for the first time. We already talked about, hey, you got to be on time. There's no doubt about that. And when you're chatting with them, you know, give them compliments about their home too. You can always start off that way. People love to hear compliments. I can remember, I think one of the first times when I first started real estate and I shadowed an experienced broker, and you know it was way back in the in the day there, but he hadn't met the seller before, and so we drove down to the home, and it was in an older neighborhood. And you know when he got to the front door, he had said to the seller, you know, hello, nice to meet you. He says, boy, you guys really live in a hole down here. You know, it's kind of down by a ravine. He said, is it safe to walk into the backyard? I was just thinking, oh, what a way to start off a conversation. You know, wasn't real complimenting, but those are part of the etiquette that you just gotta learn from.
Well, one thing I want to bring up too is when you're done with the showing, give the feedback.
Yeah, give the feedback.
That is so valuable to the listing agent himself and the sellers.
Yeah,
Because a
it,
lot of times, you get multiple feedbacks if you're a listing agent that says home is great, but it's overpriced. I mean, these are tools that can help lower the price to a more reasonable price. Or if there's an odor in the house and someone mentions it, it gives you a little more leverage to discuss it gently with the seller. I mean, it's just the feedback really does help.
yes, it does.
Because, and showing time will send you a request often saying requested, feedback, and don't ignore it. Just take a minute on your phone and give quick feedback. It,
Right,
it does help. It does help
right.
everybody.
I read some of the Facebook group pages that we have for like the Washington real estate brokers Facebook website, and I do see, you know, quite a few, I'll call them complaints from buyers brokers that have said, you know, that I'm trying to contact a listing agent with questions, they never get back to me, never get
Yeah,
back. And even
hear
though it
that
might be a
too.
multiple offer scenario, but it takes just such a little time to get back in touch with them, or, you know, set a time, maybe it's early the next morning or whatever, and just get back to those people, even if it's a text or, you know, something short, just to show that, you know, feedback's important. We all have the same goal, right? And it's to have a nice, smooth transaction, close, happy clients, you get paid. And
Yeah,
that's what it's all
yeah,
about. So
call back. I mean, that one missed call might be the buyer.
that certainly
That
could.
might be the buyer's agent. That might be the one.
Yeah,
And then,
absolutely. So, you know, I just guess I'd say the other thing on listing sides is when you're going to put up a listing, try and add as much information as you can. You got the supplement pages that you could
yes.
put a lot of information on that really helps out the buyer and buyer's broker to see everything up there and sometimes more. it helps everybody in the whole transaction to do that. So there's no surprises when they're going to be writing an offer. It's just more helpful. So anything you can do to make somebody else's job easier and be kind and thoughtful with it. And if you get the same back, it'll be a much better, smoother world for all of us out there.
Yeah, because once you get mutual on these properties, lately we're seeing like 17-day closes and things like that. It's
Very,
it's it's
very
really
nice.
speeding up lately. Lenders are able to do these things in like 2 weeks lately.
There
So
you go. Nice,
yeah,
nice to have. Very,
but
very nice.
definitely want to make sure that your sense of urgency is there and you're responding quickly on everything.
That's right.
Yep.
So we would just say to you folks, hey, just, proper etiquette out there will make you stand out. It'll make everybody's job easier. It's easy to do. You could make it a habit of doing it. Sometimes you might have to bite your lip, whatever, in dealing, these transactions usually are just, well, on average 30 days or what have you.
Yeah.
Just be cooperative. Work
And
for
just
30
be a
days.
professional and you
Yeah,
know, don't take anything personally. It's a business transaction,
yeah.
take good care of your clients and be kind and
Everything
work
will
with
work
them.
out smooth.
Yep.
So thanks for taking the time to watch our video, and we hope you all have a great day and happy selling to all of you. Take
Thank
care.
you. Have a good day.